There is nothing more terrifying.
Alright, welcome back to Honored Madman, and the Demi-Human video, I promise, will definitely be out tomorrow because I did not know that Elden Ring's DLC was having a story trailer today, so that's what we're going to be talking about. The first thing I want to say about this trailer is the fucking music. It just manages to convey the feeling of the trailer and the vague story that we're being told so well. It uplifts it, if you will. And the visuals were on another level. I mean, you guys all saw this trailer. I don't need to polish it too hard, but you get what I mean. Look at some of these shots and then look at the accompanying narration and what it's implying, and it just goes together so well. I'm going to try and cover as much as I can, but as always, I've got some key scenes picked out that we're going to talk about specifically, just a few observations to go over. Hopefully I won't be here all day, but you know how these things can go. But before I get into that, though, I want to talk a little bit more about this narration and just who specifically is talking. Well, my best guess is that it's one of these tarnished ? That we see at the end who are saying, "Come walk with us." Until I know for certain what they are, I'm going to refer to them as the Undeterred. Which, actually, let's talk about this part real quick, because I really like this scene. It looks like most, if not all, of the NPC-like figures we saw in the first Shadow of the Erdtree trailer. We've got the big jar maker, the gladiator-looking guy, that one knight who looks like he's from the Archdrake sect from Dark Souls 2, and of course the White Mask Var / Mirai family member look-alike character that we saw in the other trailer who was like slumped over. It also looks like we've got another big hat character in the mix. Now, I don't really think we'll be going into the Shadow of the Erdtree with these people. I think they've already entered perhaps shortly before we did, or perhaps long before we did. It's honestly tough to say. It makes it seem like we'll be meeting these people, at least in the gist of the trailer. If nothing else, they look to be the supporting cast for the DLC, since the main cast will be the player character and the bosses. That'll be fun. I really liked that shot of all the warriors standing together asking you to walk with them. That was just really cool. And as is the nature with these games, I'm sure all of these individuals will meet rather complicated and gruesome fates throughout the DLC. We'll probably come across them as we progress through it, scattered across the Shadowlands. And again, if they left long before we did, then perhaps most of them have already settled into their new roles in the Shadowland. It's tough to say, but another big thing we saw was this war that could never be put to song. We got another look at the Brazier Wickermen, as well as a bunch of troops slaughtering people at the command of Mesmer. We also see that lion puppet, or perhaps it's the lion before he got turned into a puppet, battling the Matt Smith-esque demigod, who the lion perhaps loses to and gets turned into a puppet. Mesmer seems to be specifically targeting those who are associated with the Crucible. As you can see in this one shot, he's got a bunch of individuals speared, and they all have omen horns or crucible horns. That, paired with him presumably piecing up that Crucible lion, seems to paint him as an enemy of the Crucible of Life. He appears to be loyal to the Greater Will, or at the very least his mother, who I assume is Marika. He's shown using the blood flame of the Formless Mother, as well as dragon communion incantations. He's got these snakes that appear to be growing out of him, and seemingly has the ability to shoot flaming serpents from his arms, as we see in the trailer when he's like laying siege to that castle. All in all, he's definitely going to be a formidable foe. Honestly, all the trailer really did was make me want to fight him just to see what he's got. Plus, I'd like to avenge the lion. Now, another big thing this trailer focused on was Miquella, to the surprise of absolutely no one. He's definitely going to be taking some form of center stage in this DLC, but one of the main goals seems to be finding him. I mean, where is he at in these Shadowlands? It's once again reiterated that he's divested himself from everything, like he severed himself from his strength, his runes, everything that made him who he was, even his fate, and then it shows a weird shot of Saint Trina falling into the abyss, which I assume is meant to evoke Miquella abandoning who he was supposed to become, i.e. Saint Trina, in order to go to these Shadowlands. Now, I'm not quite sure what he's after here, to be honest, but I'm sure there's some more astute observers than I that could let me know in the comments what they think. Personally, I think it has to tie in with the beginning of the trailer, where it shows, I assume, Marika taking power in a world of flesh and corpses. Could this be the primordial crucible where all life was blended together? I mean, it certainly looks like it. I mean, that's what came to mind, for me at least. She takes something out of a cloth or a piece of fabric and then quite literally creates the Golden Order. Or at least that's what I think she's doing. I mean, it makes sense if that fleshy land she's walking around in is the Crucible. Because as we know, the infamous Crucible of Life is what preceded the Golden Order. It was essentially it in its cocoon form. Now, it's also said that in doing this, Marika inadvertently created the Shadowlands as well, a dark reflection of her Golden Land. And there a war was fought, a really bad one from the sounds of it. I mean, there were some bad ones that were fought in the lands between, but this one was never even put to song, which I guess is a big deal in a fantasy medieval setting. And maybe that's why Mesmer is waging this brutal war on the remnants of the Crucible, those who have horns and whatnot. We know how the Omens were treated back in the lands between. They weren't, outright waged war upon, but there was a special order of perfumers dedicated to killing them, and the royal ones were kept in the sewers. Most non-royal Omens had their horns cut off when they were babies, usually resulting in the baby's death. It's just a bad time to be associated with the Crucible and the lands between. And if these Shadowlands are a dark reflection, then perhaps this, extermination, for lack of a better word, is just the Shadowlands' way of dealing with remnants of the Crucible. They don't need to hide under the shiny veneer of gold like the Lands Between does. And that's what the Shadowlands are shaping up to be, the edgy version of the Lands Between. And hey man, I'm here for it. This looks excellent. The voice acting was top notch, the music top notch, the boss and NPC design is excellent. I honestly can't wait to explore this world. But what I'm really curious about in this trailer is, what did Marika take out of that cloth? Also, I'm realizing it might not be a cloth per se. It looks like some weird birthing sac next to a root of some kind. Perhaps it's a seed from the Great Tree. Maybe Marika needed some strong essence to, anchor her new world logic. A familiar symbol, if you will. That was at least something the other quote-unquote denizens of the Crucible could get behind. I'm obviously spitballing here, but that whole little sequence of her grabbing that thing out of whatever the hell that sack was reminded me of Daemon getting the eggs from the Dragonmont in House of the Dragon, and the movie Prospect with Pedro Pascal and Sophie Thatcher, where they're on this frontier planet and they're like space mining these weird organic pearl-like gems that are worth hella money. It's a great movie. I've been wanting to do a video about it for like years, and I have it all written up. I just haven't gotten around to it because it's hard to find clips of the movie, but I could just take screenshots. It's a whole thing, and I'm getting off track. If you haven't seen the movie though, you should definitely go watch it. It's based on this short film called Dust. But Prospect, man, one of my favorite sci-fi movies, up there with the Signal, out of at least indie sci-fi movies. Anyway though, back to the trailer. How hard does that one shot go where it looks like Marika's grabbing the literal strands of time and bounding them together in her hands as her hair is blowing in the wind? That shit is badass. That's like tattoo material type shit. This is a really atmospheric trailer. That word, the word aesthetic, might have lost most of its meaning over the past few years, but it definitely fits the bill here. We saw another epic shot of the gnarled and splitting Erdtree leaking gold and amber. I really like how that looks as well. I really hope we'll be able to see that in the distance when we're riding around the Shadowlands. It just looks so cool. And probably that's what most of this video has been just like, oh yeah, this looks cool. And that's kind of what the idea was. There's probably going to be minimal editing on this, but I believe that's everything I had to say about the trailer, at least so far. If I have anything else to say, you'll see it mentioned in another video probably. Now, I'm going to try not to mention the Aldia video until it's finished. I do realize though that I might have mentioned it in my Demi-Humans video, which is just about done, but it's going to go up tomorrow. So not counting that, I won't mention the Aldia video until it's done. Hopefully that lights the fire under my ass to finish it, but anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this trailer in the comments, as well as your own observations on the things that were said in it or took place in it, and the things that I say in this video, because I might be getting some stuff wrong, and it's always great to have a little bit of discourse in the comment section. As you can see though, I'm in a really rambling mood because of this trailer, so let's get our outro out of the way and then some final thoughts. As always though, I hope you guys found this video to be at least somewhat informative and entertaining. If you liked the video, please like it. If you disliked it, please dislike it. And if you like hearing me ramble on about the various subjects while occasionally getting sidetracked, please consider subscribing. We just hit 25k, pretty big deal for a small little channel like me. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get to our outro, shall we? Alright, I really gotta say this trailer caught me off guard, but I think what I'm gonna talk about in these final thoughts is how the Crucible of Life looked, if that's really what that was. I gotta say, I didn't see that coming, and it really does add up, because it's always talked about as being this chaotic mash of life, all life mixed together. And I don't know why, but I guess I never thought that it would look like this place where there's corpses piled high as walls and the ground is all fleshy and weird. It's honestly perfect. Now, I don't think we'll get to set foot in there because that time has long since passed, but it was a really nice little thing to see in the trailer. Anyway, though, I've probably talked for long enough, but there will be a lot more talking about this DLC in the days to come, that's for sure. The first Mikola rant is going to focus on a lot of stuff that happened in this, and a lot of random stuff from the games. We're just going to talk about all things Mikola, and then I'm going to try and make that a like weekly rant video thing where we do these low editing but long format rants where we talk about everything there is to know about a character and perhaps some of their conspiracy theories. But anyway, I'm going to cut things short and finish up that Demi-Humans video. Until next time, which should be very soon. As always, be safe and I'll see ya.
We live inside a dream.